Well, if you guys are big fans of Stardom, then you guys are in the right channel. So today we're going to be doing two reviews from two of their much recent events. The first one happened on the 16th of October, of course, is their show in Himeji. If you guys ever been to Japan, you probably know it's the home of that one big castle in the area. But it's a really good, fun event. We definitely don't want to miss. We do have some preliminary matches involving, of course, that we will be discussing, and then we move on to the following day, which is today, New Blood 25. And this one, of course, features not only the younger talent in Stardom, but also talent from outside of Stardom making their presence known. So this is going to be a lot of fun to review. And then, of course, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates, give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as, of course, the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So as I said, it's all about Stardom. So let's start with the Himeji event. Okay, Stardom in Himeji. This happened recently, of course, on the 16th of August at the Irikuru Himisi. I don't know I can't pronounce it right. But anyway, this is their much recent show. Our first match is a very interesting one of a makeshift tag team. We have, of course, MMA Shima teaming up with Momo Watanabe, and then their opponents are Kyoku, um, Kikyo Furuzawa, and Saya Kamitani. Now, remember, folks, this is a preliminary matches. Don't forget, Momo Watanabe is this year's 5-star Grand Prix winner, so that means she challenges for, I believe, maybe both belts. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case. If it is, then good for her. So she'll be, if this is a preliminary match for that. So basically, you ask yourself who's going to walk out as the victor. Now, of course, it's no secret that Kamitani and Momo will play dirty. The rookies, of course, they have no say whatsoever what they need to do, cheat their way through, because that's between those two. But of course, Momo decided to bring out the bat and use it as a weapon. But however, she was able to apply the B driver onto Furuzawa, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Our next match, we have the members of EXV, or better known as the tag team, Rice or Bread, Waka Tsukiyama and Hanako. They take on stars Yuri Him and Saya Ida. Now, nothing too special about this match whatsoever. Of course, we have been seeing Waka and Hanako being a dominant team together, despite the fact that they are the New Blood Tag Team Champions, and of course, Hanako being the future champion, it says it all. But in the end, of course, it was, uh, what was it? A single leg crab hold by Hanako onto Yuria that allowed them to pick up the win by submission, and just like that, it was over. Our next match, we have an interesting four-way match. We have Rana Yagami versus Momo Kogo versus Rina and versus Mei Seira. Now, of course, obviously, there's different factors in this you can play. For those who know, Rina is 1/3 of the Artist Champions with Fukigen Death and Konami, while Mei Seira is the current high-speed champion. So you guys can indicate how that's gonna play out completely. So you probably would think that someone has had to pick a pinfall on one of those two. I know Rina has aimed for the high-speed belt. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case that she wants to do by obtaining it. But in the end, it was of course Mei Seira that was able to overcome this by pinning Rana Yagami, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next match, we have the members of Hate, 2/3 of the Artist Champions, Fukigen Death and Konami. They take on Neo Genesis, Miyu Amasaki, and Starlight Kid. Now, this also is a preliminary match in case anybody asks. Remember, Konami issued another challenge for the white belt, the Wonder of Stardom Championship, a belt that she has already challenged but failed to do so, and now she's aiming it. Now, some of you may question, why would she aim it? Simple. Hate are determined to rule, to control Stardom, including the Yoshi Wrestling World. The only way to do that is by obtaining all belts in necessary. So that's what their intends to do. But of course, you would think that there'll be some dirty plays coming from Konami and Fukigen Death. That kind of sets it out. But however, Masaki was able to apply her pinfall trap onto Fukigen Death, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, Amasaki picked up the win for her team. And of course, we did see a bit of a post-match promo, Starlight Kid's having some words to say to Konami, and Konami responds to that. So as you all know, this is about the white belt coming up soon, so we'll be staying tuned for that until that day happens. Now, our next match, we have the other members of Hate, consisting of Raka and Natsuko Tora, taking on Mi Vida Loca, more specifically Akira Kurugani and Rina Yamashita. Many of you probably think this is also what I also would say. This is another preliminary match. It was Rina Yamashita and Izuki Aoki who issued the challenge for this for the goddesses belts, the tag team belts, and you probably would say someone is going to walk out, of course, with the momentum. And of course, when it comes to I often say they always try to use cheating methods in order to win, and that's exactly what they try to do. However, it was Raka who picked up the win when she applied a freezer bomb onto Kurugani, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But of course, the post-match happened. Of course, Raka is taking great seeing the loss of Mi Vida Loca, trying to show that no matter what, that they are going to be walking on top of this whole thing. But we will see what happens, because anything could change from here on out, because don't forget, next month the Goddesses Tag League will begin. So stay tuned for that. Now, our main event, we have, of course, God's Eye, consisted of Kiyoka Kotatsu, Lady C, Ami Sori, and Saki Kashima, taking on the Cosmic Angels, consisting of Sayaka Kurara, Yuna Mizumori, Sayori Anu, and Natsupoi. So you probably can tell, you probably ask yourselves, where's Aya Sakura? We haven't seen her. Well, she was at another event, participating in another show. But anyway, this match, of course, there were moments, for those who don't know, Kurara realized she made a mistake by pissing off Kashima. Kashima doesn't want nothing to do with her after she put her in a moment where she has to face Bozilla. But of course, that's always been one of the things, because Kashima doesn't want to be in a match against Bozilla, but she had no other choice, all thanks to Kurara. But in the end, it was Natsupoi who picked up the win by picking up the pinfall onto Lady C, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, the show ended by having the Cosmic Angels, mostly Natsupoi, doing all the talking and closing down the show. And just like that, it was completely over. So that's pretty much what happened in Himeji. So now let's move on to the next show, and that is, of course, New Blood 25. All right, we still with Stardom. Now we got New Blood 25. This is the latest show that happened, and it's at the Azali Taishio Hall in Osaka. Now, for those who are not familiarized with New Blood, if you're new to the channel, let me explain a little bit about this show for many of you who don't know. New Blood is basically a show where they introduce mostly the rookie wrestlers, and there's two ways it goes on when it comes to the rookies. First one, if you're below 21 and you've been wrestling as a teenager, basically you're a new blood yourself. Wrestlers, of course, like the Hanan sisters, Hanan, Hina, and Rina. They have been wrestling when they were very young, and of course that applies to them. And of course, Starlight Kid, Azumi, I believe, but they have already outgrown it, so it doesn't concern them whatsoever. But there's also the wrestlers who are in the 3 years experience above 21, such as, of course, Hanako, Yuri Him, um, Akira Kurigani, Aya Sakura, those guys. So they're basically on a 3 year learning experience. Once they're done, they have to transition out, but they will participate in New Blood events if it's necessary, if that's what they need. But we do get wrestlers who also fall in that same kind of category from other promotions, such as Sendai Girls, Marvelous, um, maybe Ice Ribbon, Seedling, wherever they're available if they want to come. And that's always been the case. But yeah, so that's pretty much the kind of events they do. And this is their much recent show they just did. Now, our first opening match, we have, of course, Kikyo Furuzawa versus MMA Shima. Now, remember, boys and girls, these two are the latest batches that came out. Now, they have faced each other before, but however, last time it ended up in a 10-minute time limit draw. But the real question is, does history repeat itself again? Well, I wouldn't be so certain, but somehow it was MMA Shima that picked up the win when she applied a single leg crab hold. Now, she tried to put away Furuzawa with, of course, the Boston Crab, but Furuzawa refused to quit, so she switched up her tactic by applying, of course, a single leg crab hold, and just like that, she tapped out. Maishima picked up the win. Now, our next match, we have Yuki Mashiro versus Mei Sita. Now, for those who are not familiarized with Yuki Mashiro, she was from Ice Ribbon, but now she is currently a freelancer, so she has no ties to any promotion. So she does have necessary, but she has been in the wrestling for a long time. But there was a 1 year gap that she took on because many of you may not remember, she officially retired and then she came back. I'm not sure if she had to relearn everything again, but she was facing against Mei Sita. And of course, I'm sure Yuki Mashiro will love nothing more to defeat Mei Sita in order to get a shot at the high-speed belt. But apparently she failed when Mei Sita applied a shooting star, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, our next match, we have Fukigen Death. She teams up with Ram Kaicho. They take on God's Eye, consistent of Rana Egami and Kiyoka Kotatsu. Now, of course, when it comes to Ram Kaicho, many of you know she likes to throw in some ninja stars or throw in some ectoplasma, which, of course, unfortunately, Waka had to deal with for a long time. But unfortunately, Ram Kaicho accidentally misfired by hitting on Fukigen Death, and this allowed, of course, for Rana Yagami to put her in a buzzsaw kick position, and just like that, she just kicked her head off, and then 1, 2, 3, done. It was completely over right from there. Now, our next match, we have Akira Kurigani versus Rina Yamashita. You can call this Mi Vida Loca Showdown because they're part of the same faction. Now, some of you may question why would they end up in this match. Simple. Akira Kurigani has a bright future, not to mention she is learning under Suzuki, who is currently out due to her unhealthy condition she's in. We don't know when she'll be back. But Rina Yamashita is willing to step up the game to get her fired going because, of course, as you know, the previous they lost big time, and that's pretty much what happened. But, of course, Kurigani tried to pull up the biggest fight as possible, but unfortunately it did not do any well because it was Rina Yamashita with a lariat, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then, of course, during the post-match promo, Rina Yamashita had some words to say to Akira Kurigani, trying to encourage her that no matter what, that she'll keep on fighting, no matter what it takes. And we'll see how things will progress in her career. Now, our main event, we have the Cosmic Angels, Sayaka Kurara, Aya Sakura, and Yuna Mizumori, taking on EXV Rian, Waka Tsukiyama, and Hanako. Now, of course, there's a lot of history from both sides. As you know, Aya Sakura and Hanako, they're from the same batch. They actually trained together. And not to mention, in the early years, they had their disdain towards Waka being, of course, a unknowing a senpai to them. You know, that's always been the case until Hanako decided to side with her. And, of course, Aya Sakura has been very growing completely. And, of course, not to mention Waka and Yuna Mizumori, they have their same goal to obtain the high speed. And I think that's always been a good factor. But, however, of course, in recent times, we've been seeing Aya Sakura and Hanako been going butt heads many times on various ways. They tried to say who was the stronger out of the two of them. And, of course, Hanako has recently been that when she lost for the future belt. Well, Hanako retained the belt, but Aya Sakura, well, she felt like she could this was still not enough. We have seen her grown, but not enough. But luckily in this match, it was Kurara who was able to pick up the win when she applied the Tumiki spear onto Waka, and just like that, it was over. 1, 2, 3. But one thing I would point out, for those who don't know, Kurara applied a violet shooting, which is a move that Tam Nakano always used. And I wouldn't be surprised if Waka didn't know that she learned some things from Tam, who Waka once loved so much, until she walked out on Tam to join Mina and what was used to be Club Venus. But that's how it is. However, during the post-match, Kurara, as you know, her and Sakura, better known as Sakurada, they actually are going to challenge for the New Blood belts. And of course, the New Blood tag team belts, and that will take place by the end of this month. And that's going to be a match I definitely don't want to miss out, because if the Cosmic Angel, if Kurara and Sakura win, that's going to be a very epic moment for the Cosmic Angels to have rookies finally, of course, taking some championships. And I think we all been hoping for these two to win these tag team belts since they first joined Cosmic Angels from day one. And that's something we're definitely going to see. And I think that's pretty much it what we have. I do know there is another Stardom show coming in, and this one is a special one because it's Kurara's hometown, and I can't wait to see it. If I do see it, I'll review it. But for right now, let's end it here and move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin, of course, with upcoming events. Now, we only have one update on that category. Many of you may remember that Pro Wrestling Noah has restarted a brand new junior heavyweight round robin tournament called the Junior Grand Prix. and this event will begin on the 8th of November in Corkin Hall. And 16 names have been mentioned now who will be participating, and this is, of course, the names. We have, of course, the current GHC Junior Heavyweight Champion, and of course, part of New Japan roster, Hiromu Takahashi. We have Amakusa, Daga, Alejandro, Kai Fujimura, Tadasuke, Ninja Mac, Hayata, Daiki Odashima, Black Mansuri, Shuji Kondo, Junta Miyawaki, Eita, Yuto Kikuchi, Jun Masaoka, and Hajime Ohara. So basically, that is all 16 participants for this event. So I can't wait to see this one. So I'm going to presume that whoever walks out will face Hiromu for the belt. But if Hiromu's prevailed, he'll probably pick his opponent. So we'll see what happens. Now, on to some developments. We want to give congratulations to Myron Reed and Killer Kelly. They are now officially engaged. Now, I think some of you may question me. AJ, I thought they were married. No, they were a couple, but also now they're parents. They have a baby girl who was born not too long ago, and now that they're engaged, so I'm very happy for them. So congratulations, guys. Now, many of you may have heard that I remember I talked about Booker T, how his reaction towards Wes Lee being released. He felt like he should have been in the main roster no matter what. But however, Wrestling Observer reports that there was no interest of having him being part of the main roster. So basically, that was the thing. They had no interest of him of that, despite of being 5 years working with the company. And I think some of you may find it a load of horse crap. I mean, look, it's not about that they're not good enough. It's that the fact that WWE has this way of like who they see is main event material, and I think that's one of the things that it gets people's nerves, because that's how WWE operates. Look, guys, I'm not being mean, but that's how they always are. I'm not saying that it's pretty, but that's how things are, and that's the reason AEW exists, because some people just don't see them that they should be at the top of the mountain. But we'll get to that. Now, many of you may have heard this or not. There were plans for Kota Ibushi to participate in WrestleDream, teaming up with Kenny to take on Himeji Seto and Josh Alexander. But this was really confirmed by Wrestling Observer from sources that they obtained about that. So it sucks, even though Kota Ibushi is out on injury, but hopefully he recovers well. Jericho, as you know, many of you know, I mentioned this, that he is doing another Jericho cruise, but there were talks about that there are no AEW talent that would be, of course, participating. There's still people that don't know what's going on, but however, it was reported by Wrestling Observer that Jericho will be returning to WWE. And please, WWE loyalists, don't give me this crap like it's a happy thing. Apparently, it was revealed that Jericho will be doing a retirement tour in WWE, but also in hopes to become a Hall of Fame in WWE Hall of Fame, which of course is going to be interesting. Many of you may remember this. I mentioned about a Japanese AEW commentator, and I finally got his name, Haruo Murata. He does the commentating for Japanese language when AEW does a lot of their shows. Remember, guys, AEW and New Japan are in fact, of course, partners, and they have someone to translate if anybody from, of course, in Japan, especially if you're a New Japan fan, from there want to watch AEW and you want a Japanese commentary, and he was that guy. But recently he made a special appearance along with another commentator that they normally talk to, attending a ChocoPro show at the Ichigai Square. Well, it turns out that he will be also doing commentary now with ChocoPro too. He's going to do things all by himself, and that's going to be the upcoming show they'll be doing, and I'm sure I'll be able to see it. So stay tuned for that. Now, many of you may have heard about what's going on with the Young Bucks. There was a report recently about, of course, they want to purchase PWG, which is Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, about the possibly buying it or running it. in the future once their AEW career wraps up. So that's their plans. Some of you may question why would they why would they want that? For those who may not follow their careers, uh, their biggest moments have always been in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. They have done a lot of great moments, and not to mention they owed a lot to Super Dragon, who is the owner and one of the 6 founders of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And they left a statement regarding about this whole matter, this thing about the possibility once their futures in AEW careers are done. But let's see. This is what they said. The PWG thing is definitely a pipe dream. We have always talked about doing some independent or something once our careers wrapped up. With mainstream wrestling like AEW, we have more time at home. It would be good for the independent scene, especially in SoCal. It's kind of dried up as of late, and usually like the hotbed. So with our influence, we could help indie scenes around there, whether we call it PWG or a whole different wrestling company name. I think that's our goal, to be kind of carry the torch of what PWG started, and to have a company that falls into the spirit of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla was for all of those years. And this was on the Battleground podcast. Yes, uh, it, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla had a hot scene at the time. Recently, they haven't done any shows in years. Uh, I don't know what was the main reasons for that. We do know that a couple years back they had to move from their venues because they did some of their shows in Reseda, but that they actually closed down that venue a couple years ago, and then they moved it to the Globe Theater in LA, and they have done great shows there too. But we know that Super Dragon, the owner, in fact, he had to take some time off because personal things. Some say it had something to do with his wife. I'm not 100% sure, but yes. But we'll see what happens, because I feel the Young Bucks does have a lot of influence, especially in the SoCal area, and I think that's a good thing that in the independent scenes in the area. Like, I mean, look, there are some good independent promotions, but not as big as Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. But I'm sure they can make it big over there. But we'll just have to wait and see what they do. But as of right now, I'll put this on a pin, and I'll follow up more if there's anything happens. But until then, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I did mention we do have, of course, AEW WrestleDream, which is going to be awesome. We have some interesting killer matches taking place, of course. We have the tag team belts on the line. We have the AEW World Title and plenty other things taking place. Now, as I mentioned, if I do get the chance to see Stardom, the recent show, which is the Triumph home of Sayaka Kara, well, I'm going to be doing that. And if they have uploaded the recent ChocoPro show, yes, I'll do that. So I'll make those as a priority, and everything else, I'll do that at another time. But as of right now, we'll keep things as it is. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.